Like most people, I would love to have a haunted castle. But is this one particular castle in the Czech Republic in Europe a gateway to hell? Was this castle built to keep demons from entering the earth? On this episode of Speaking of Spirits, Houska Castle.
Hi everybody, this is Colleen with Speaking of Spirits, and I'm here with my sidekick Tim and Carrie.
Hello.
And today we are talking about the gateway to hell. Woohoo!
Or at least one of them.
Or at least one of them, because apparently there's a whole bunch of gateways to hell. And if you watch the Dude and Broad show, what is that, Ghost Adventures or whatever they're called? Apparently everything has a portal to hell. So, you know.
Everything.
Or if it doesn't, it's connected to it.
It's connected to hell. Every investigation they do, according to them.
Oh, I see what you're saying. When you said everything had, what do you mean everything? No. Come on.
Everything that they touch has a gateway to hell. So this particular gateway to hell we're talking about is the Houska Castle in Prague. And it fascinating. This came across my feed one day on in my email because I subscribe to everything weird and dark out there. And I thought, how interesting is this? And I don't know if you've ever heard of the Houska Castle. It's spelled Houska. Houska.
Or
Hrad Houska. Yes, and it's in Prague. So there's in the municipality of something I can't pronounce, Blatce. I don't even know. I don't know. Anyway, in the Czech Republic, it was built around. There's different things online, anywhere from 1253 to the 1270s. But honestly, I mean that's old. That's really old.
Oh yeah.
And it lays about 47 kilometers north of Prague. And it's one of the best preserved castles of its time frame. I mean, America, most of our buildings were built, our earliest buildings were built, 1600s? Yeah. On the East Coast. So it's like, this was built in the 1200s. But they failed to build steps to the second floor. So that's the one thing that's kind of interesting about this castle is that there were no original steps to the second floor. Unless they had steps and they rotted and then there's no trace of them and they had to rebuild them. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But they also built windows that weren't windows. They had window panes, but
the windows are fake.
The windows were fake.
Well, they say that the whole castle was just built to cover the pit for protection.
Right. So the claim to fame about the castle is that allegedly it houses a gateway to hell. So there's this pit that is so incredibly deep that originally they were trying to fill it up with rocks and they just kept dumping rocks in it and the rocks just fell to nowhere. I mean, it just kept going. And the villagers were terrified of this pit. And it's not like a well. I mean, this is a
bottomless pit.
They say it's a bottomless pit. So they built the castle over the pit, and specifically the sanctuary to the castle over the pit to seal it. So I find that really kind of fascinating. That first of all, who built the pit? I mean, is this a natural feature? Because when you look at some of the stonework, there was stonework on the top of it, but it was so deep. So it's like they put stonework around the top of the pit and then gave up. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of freaky. The folklore considers the castle to cover one of the gateways to hell, built to prevent demons, which are trapped in the lower levels of this pit, from reaching the rest of the world. The Houska Castle, and specifically the chapel, was constructed over the hole in the ground, and it's allegedly so deep that no one could ever see the bottom of it, and animal-human hybrids were reported to crawl out of it. And dark-winged other-worldly creatures flew out of it. And you were reading some stuff about the hauntings of the castle.
Right. And people believing even the pictures that are on the walls had images and things that just everybody feels like it's possessed.
Well, when I first walked into this room, you said it was some sort of hybrid, and it took me like 3 minutes to just comprehend the words that were coming out of your mouth.
No, okay, so yeah, because in it said that there was a human form, but it was a frog, bulldog, something else looking creature. Now I can't remember what
It was a bullfrog human creature.
There, yeah.
Yeah, which to me, yeah, I don't know. Mm-hmm. What's kind of fascinating about the castle itself is that it wasn't built, most castles were built to defend a border or to defend something of value. There seemed to be no rhyme or reason to the position of the castle. So it has no fortifications, no kitchen, and no occupants when it was built.
Yeah.
It has no running water. Many of the windows aren't windows at all, but made to look like windows. And it lies near no border or boundary. And it was surrounded by swamps and forests. It seems to be completely have been built to cover the whole.
Yeah. And the other thing that I was thinking of when I was reading is, especially for the time period, like, it's an expensive castle.
Yes.
So who paid to have that done?
Right.
It's...
So people believe that the royalty of the time frame built the castle so that they could manage their land. But there doesn't seem to be really much documentation on it that I can find. According to a Prague tourism website, the castle is reputed to have various types of ghosts. We talked about the bullfrog human.
Yeah. The human frog bulldog-like creature is said to roam the castle halls. The courtyard is haunted by a headless ghost with blood gushing out of his wound. Many shadow people have been seen, and there's even cases of poltergeist activity. And the demonic artwork throughout the castle doesn't give people a comfortable feeling either.
Yeah, I don't know about the demonic artwork. I think there was like a centaur or something on one of the images. And the thing that was interesting about the drawing was that the spear was in the left hand, and usually the spears are always in the right hand. Way back when, people believed that left-handed people were evil. And so why was a spear in the left hand of this thing?
Yeah, and it was a female centaur who is left-handed.
It's a female even.
Yes.
So even worse. There's also a headless horse and an old woman, as well as the remains of demonic beasts who have escaped the pit, apparently are seen there. I know that when you read about the castle, I mean, throughout the ages, the village, the people who lived near the castle were pretty terrified of this castle. And there are stories about people being lowered into this pit.
That they would get lowered in to pardon them.
Yeah, they
were
prisoners.
people that were prisoners, and they would if they would agree to be lowered, they would pardon them.
They wanted to know what was in the pit, so they would lower these poor people down by ropes into this pit. And there's one story of the first prisoner lowered into the pit. When they pulled him up, he had aged like 40 years. He was hospitalized. I don't know what a hospital looks like in the 1200s, but he was hospitalized and died within a couple of days.
Later, he died.
Yeah, he had aged like dramatically, instantly when they pulled him up. So that's kind of terrifying. Now, I have heard stories. I've never seen it in real life. My grandmother swears she did, but she also drank a bit. And that, like, someone in shock whose hairs turned white within just a few days, like their hair would go completely white. So I don't know. I've never seen it, but I guess it could happen. I guess. You have?
Yeah, but it was more physical trauma, actually.
Really? Mm-hmm. And it caused hair to change color?
Mm-hmm. There's a big back patch on the back of his head.
Is that where he was wounded in the accident?
Oh. Yep. So it was a scar, like a scar situation.
Yep.
Yeah, so my hair, so I went through, like, I had to do chemo on my arms, like that chemo cream for skin cancer stuff, and I went from redhead to blonde within 2 weeks. I lost all my red, and it's never come back.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? Born a redhead, not a redhead.
We can get some hair dye.
Yeah. It would match my temper.
Yes, it would.
They laugh, but they know. The castle was not built as a residence. It was built because of the hole, as we mentioned. But constructing, it's a Gothic building, right? The defensive walls face inward, which I found interesting. So typically, castles, their defense is outward, and theirs is inward, and thus it was able to keep the demons trapped at the lower levels of the thickest walls in the whole of the castle. So I have to go see this thing. I have to go.
Well, and this says people still claim to hear the screams and cries coming from the floor where the gateway is. And they said it's as if the creatures are still trying to claw their way out into our world.
I want to go. I mean, anything dark and creepy like this is so intriguing to me.
Okay.
Archaeological evidence has shown that the Celtic tribes inhabited the land Houska Castle stands on in antiquity. So, and then the Slavic tribes migrated to the area that is now Czechia as early as 6th century CE. So, figures the Celts were there. We were badass. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
just saying.
Absolutely.
They brought the whiskey.
It was built in the 9th century. We talked about, well, they say the 9th century, but that doesn't line up with what other stuff that I've read. There was a crack in the limestone that the locals believed were the demons trying to claw their way out of the castle.
Right.
Like they were trying to get through the limestone structure. Geologically, I don't know. Could it be just an unstable area? And so there were little tremors here and there? I don't know. I think it would be interesting.
I would think by now somebody would have tested that theory.
I would think so. Villagers eventually tried to block the alleged gateway with stones, only to see it was a bottomless pit. And it was never sealed. Like, never could be sealed. So they built the castle over it. Carrie just shivered.
Yeah, it's just like, oh.
So the villagers also believed that they themselves would be turned into these demonic creatures. Like, if the creatures got out, it could inhabit them. Yeah, and the door just opened. Oh, because you went outside. She's like, what? So we talked about the prisoners being lowered into the abyss. The castle also housed a Swedish mercenary who was a practitioner of the black magic. And so his name was Oronto, and he inhabited the castle in the 1600s. He allegedly toiled on experiments to find an elixir for eternal life in his lab until terrified villagers assassinated him.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's not the end of the darkness of the castle, right? So there's the scratching noises and the clawing that people hear on the stone and the floor of the castle can be heard. So people can visit the castle now. I don't know if it's still open. The last picture, it looked like almost like there was dogs at the gate. And it looked like maybe it's private residence now. But let's go on to World War II. The Nazis inhabited the castle.
Oh, really?
Yes. And so Heinrich Himmler, the SS leader, he and his extensive library of occult manuscripts, he inhabited the castle. Yes. And so allegedly he conducted rituals and experiments in the castle while they were there to see if they could harness the power of hell for themselves, which doesn't surprise me with the Nazis.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, that checks. And skeletal remains of the Nazis were found during the latest renovation of the castle. So
Really?
the castle went through various renovations, and yeah, so they found several remains. They said of Nazis. I'm assuming there was uniforms to prove that. And there was also manuscripts still found there.
So, just because my brain just flipped into overdrive.
Right.
So does that mean Nazis were sacrificing Nazis? No? Okay.
I would doubt that. I think Nazis were probably sacrificing anybody they could get around the village.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
They were doing medical experiments on
Yeah.
people.
Now it's a wedding venue. I don't know that I necessarily want to be married somewhere where the Nazis conducted experiments. To me, that's kind of putting a dark spin on the wedding right then and there.
Yeah.
But
Well, you want to start off right.
yeah, let's just go ahead and get the evil out of in right in the beginning. So while I was researching this gateway to hell, I thought, how many other gateways to hell are there? Come to find out, there's quite a few, actually.
In every country?
Yeah. So, Hekla, we've all heard of the Hekla, right? Mm-hmm. Meaning the hooded cloak. It's the Icelandic volcano. So it's called fiery enough for the depths that are home to the devil. They believe that the devil lives in the volcano. After a massive eruption in 1104, myths sprung up that Hekla was the gateway to hell, possibly thanks to traveling Cistercian monks.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Birds spotted over the crater in 1341 were recorded in medieval Icelandic manuscript, the Flatly Book Annal, as the souls of the damned, and the myth was perpetuated until at least the 1800s.
Dang.
Yeah. I want a crow named Hekla. I really do. Now I want a pet crow named Hekla. Or a raven, it would be even better. Okay.
Raven.
Grandma had one. Well, it wasn't a pet, but it would always come for food.
Yes.
His name was Edgar.
Oh, yes, of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want a raven named Hekla. That would be so
There
cool.
you go.
Wouldn't that be cool?
We'll work on it next summer.
I know. I have so many animals, but a raven would be... Yeah. I don't even know how to say this word. Lacus Curtius? Mm-hmm. Lacus Curtius? The small well in Lacus Curtius is called the Lake of Curtius. At the Roman Forum was said to open into a chasm into the underworld. Roman historian Livy wrote that Rome was facing a peril which an oracle had stated would overcome only when the city threw into the chasm what she held to be the most dear. So young Roman Marcus Curtius sacrificed himself.
Wow.
Yeah. It is also said to have opened in 445 BC after a lightning strike opened it. 445.
A lightning strike?
Wow.
Opened the chasm.
Wow.
Well, that's what they said.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Gates of Guinea, located in New Orleans.
Hey, we could go to New
Hey,
Orleans.
that's
I've
one of
always
my
wanted to go
favorite
to New
places in the
Orleans.
whole world.
Never been
The
there.
French Quarter.
You've been everywhere.
I've lived everywhere in the U.S. An entrance to the Guinea, the voodoo land of Purgatory, is located at the tomb of the powerful 18th century voodoo priestess Marie Laveau. Been there. Left my coins, because you have to leave her a coin.
Right.
Didn't they say that she's already ash, though? Last time we talked about it, didn't we? All right.
Okay, here we
So
go.
there's several people on the particular thing,
In the tombs,
in
but
the
not
tomb.
Marie Laveau's.
but not hers.
Well, I'm assuming she's Ash at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
The tombs in New Orleans are raised, and it's not because of the water table, it's due to the heat. So the tombs are considered ovens, and they bake the occupants. So after so many years, I don't know what that is, 50 years or so, then
Depends on
they
the
just
summer.
open, there's like a ash cleaning bin, like in a wood stove. They open the drawer, the ash falls down, then they close it, and then they put another body in. So many of the tombs have hundreds of years of people in them
Yeah.
because it's so hot that the tombs themselves act like an oven and they just cook everybody. They cook some. It's pretty cool. I like it. I love the cemeteries. They're so cool. Anyway, we were talking about the gates of hell. Okay, Pluto's Gate. Have you heard of Pluto's Gate?
No.
The ancient Plutonian, a poisonous cave in Turkey, was believed in Greco-Roman mythology. Every time I hear Greco, I think of that damn lizard on those Geico commercials, to be a portal to hell. It is believed that the site was anyway, I can't say that. Never mind. So that Greek geographer Strabo wrote in 60 BC, this space is so full of vapor, so misty and dense that one can scarcely see the ground. Any animal that passes inside meets instant death. Those are gases that are coming up, right?
Fumes.
Those are
Gas fumes.
those are gases that are
Natural
coming
gas.
up. Exactly. I mean, that's why they carried the canary down into the coal mines, right? Because there's methane and everything else down there. Is it a gateway to hell? I don't know. I haven't been there. Like to go. Anything that says a gateway to hell, I have to experience it. Then there's this Chinoki Jigoku. Really, honestly, I can't. I have a hard time saying Tim's name sometimes. Okay.
One whole syllable.
Japan's oldest hot spring, it's called the Bloody Hell Pond, is a pool of red hot mud that has been in Beppu City. I can't even say the county. For more than 1,300 years, people in Japan's past named this Chinoiki Jikoku based on an image of hell found in Buddhism. The temperature is said to reach 78 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
Can anybody do that conversion?
That's real hot.
That's pretty hot.
Real hot.
It's really hot, like 145 or something? I don't know.
I
I'm
think
making
like
that
normal
up.
comfortable temperature is like 15 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, like really, Tim's got to do the math because I don't know. I'm making that crap up. Let's say I'm going with 145 degrees Fahrenheit.
Any other wagers?
How about you?
Okay, so I'm saying it's going to be hotter than that.
You think hotter?
Yeah, because you say
210? You're going 210, are you? I can read your mind.
Ooh,
What is it?
167.
I was
degrees
pretty damn
Fahrenheit.
close.
You're pretty close.
I was pretty close. Okay. How about the Cave of Sybil? Cave of the Sybil.
Oh, no, but I knew somebody named Sybil once.
She met the definition. This prophetess is a guide to the underworld. Was said to have resided in this Naples tunnel complex near Baiae? B-A-I-A-E. Bay?
That sounds
Bay?
like one of those made-up words.
It's made up. Okay?
That's a whole lot of vowels.
I know. I'll take an A, Alex. Leading to the underground geothermically heated steam, it's been presented to visitors as the river Styx. Like the band,
Yep, it is.
S-T-Y-X. Yeah. The layout of the tunnels conforms to the description in The Journey to the Underworld and Back, where Sybil acts like a bridge between the living world and the dead. There was Sybil was the name of the gal who had multiple personalities years ago in the movie.
And I'm telling you, I knew somebody named Sybil, and there is something about that name.
Oh, that's funny. Then there's another name I can't pronounce. It's a cave in Belize, Central America. It's a Mayan archaeological site known for skeletons like the Crystal Maiden. Her calcified bones seem to shimmer in the light, according to those who have been there, hence her title. All the bodies all show sign of ceremonial killings. The Mayans thought the site was an entry into the vast subterranean labyrinth ruled over by the Mayan death gods, the lords of Zabalba.
If you put in Crystal Maiden into your Google search,
Yeah.
it doesn't really pop up the way you think it's gonna. just a warning.
Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't even mention this.
Everybody
but
needs to type that in right now.
the whitehouse.com was not a government website.
You are right. .gov is very important.
.gov is very important, and don't let a minor go to that site.
There is a very shocked 14-year-old.
Yeah. Okay, then now this is a place I've actually been.
Where?
It's called the Seven Gates of Hell.
Where is it?
It's in the Hellman Township, Pennsylvania.
Hey, we're going back east.
I
next
know
fall.
we are. We're going to Salem next October. There's said to be an entrance to the fiery pit of hell. I have been in the Hellman Township, and it is absolutely lovely, and I've never seen it, so I want to go. The gates have been linked to everything from a former insane asylum on the outskirts of the town to an eccentric doctor. But the myths agree that only one can be seen during the day and the other 6 at night. So there's 7 gates of hell there. One can be seen during the day, the other 7 at night.
And you've been there?
I've been in the Hellman Township, yeah.
Oh, but not like...
Well, I don't know where it is, though.
Oh.
Because they really don't say.
Did you say it was a cave?
No. This one is supposed to be where an old insane asylum maybe have been. But I don't know. And then, of course, there's St. Patrick's Purgatory. This small lake island, renowned in Irish Christian tradition since the time of St. Patrick, has been receiving pilgrims continuously for well over 1,000 years. Legend has it that St. Patrick was to unveil the site of a flaming purgatory to non-believers to show them the joy of heaven and the depths of hell. It's a cave that's set there, and it's been sealed over since October 25th, 1632.
Wow.
They have the exact date.
I would almost want to go open it.
I know, right?
Did they say why they closed it?
Because of the hell.
That's
hell. Because it's hell. Tim, haven't you been following? Then there's the Fengdu City of Ghosts, an extensive complex of shrines, temples, and monasteries dedicated to the afterlife, located in the Ming Mountain in Chongqing, China. I think I got my last Amazon order from there. I'm just saying. This is a linked site to Naraka, an underworld in Chinese mythology. Visitors can go see the afterlife has in store for the damned, with statues of ghosts and demons lining the streets of the creepy town. That would be cool to see.
Be cool.
Yeah, I don't know. And then there's Cape Matapan Caves in Mani, Greece. Was one of the entrances to the ancient Greeks attributed to Hades. Orpheus was said to have used to travel down to the underworld to rescue. I hated Greek mythology. I'm just saying, I just couldn't do it.
Likewise.
You're dicey.
Thank you, because I couldn't say the damn words. Eurydice via.
They even threw up made-up letters every once in a while.
I think they did. Mm-hmm. I'll take an E, Alex. So Orpheus said to travel down to the underworld to rescue Eurydice.
Yeah.
Via this route, and today visitors can enter the caves, but a boat is needed to pass through the mouth of the Hell Gate.
Okay, I think we need to take a vote now and pick one of those, and I choose the one in Greece.
The one in Greece? Do you really want to go to the one in Greece?
I do.
Let's see.
I love Greek mythology.
Oh my God.
Love it.
I hated it. Give me the Celts any day. So of these gates of hell, where do I want to go? I really want to see. I want to see Hekla.
And where was that one at?
That was in
Iceland?
Iceland.
Iceland would be pretty too.
Iceland would be amazing.
Pencil me down for that one.
Yeah, okay. So next year, the paranormal team, we've decided we're going to Salem for Halloween. I've been there for Halloween. It's fabulous. So maybe the year after?
We go to Iceland, 2 years?
Yeah, and then Greece.
3 years.
And I was just saying, when I first walked in here, I don't even have next week planned. So, sure.
We're on top of this, Tim. We'll just send you the itinerary.
If you've been to the Houska Castle or any one of these fiery gates of hell, and if you've been in Hellman Township, Pennsylvania, and know exactly where this gate is, let me know, because I've been all over that township and I don't know where it is. I mean, I think I bought sheep out there in Hellman Township. I've been everywhere out there, and I can't figure out where in the world it could be. So
Every ghost show I watched is in the basement of a bar.
oh, that's true. It could be in a bar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, the one thing that's really cool about living in Pennsylvania and is what's really cool about living in Pennsylvania is the history. So I lived very close to the Delaware River, and I lived in this little township with this tavern, and I'm going to plug it right now because it's so cool. It's called the White Horse Tavern.
Okay.
And in this township, they made the Liberty Bell, and they still are in business.
Wow.
This company that makes bells, right?
You think
And-
they'd go out after that crack?
Yeah, you'd think. But what's the thing? But okay, it was a flaw. It was a manufacturing flaw. They've gotten over it, Tim. Just saying. But the White Horse Tavern is where Washington and his generals developed the plan to get over the Delaware.
Mm.
So, I mean, and that's where I had dinner almost every night when I didn't have a kitchen because my house was being remodeled.
Nice.
But sitting in these old taverns, we think that our buildings are old.
They're
right?
nothing compared
They're
to those
nothing compared to
out there.
no but I mean,
Decades.
even America, we're not
Yeah.
old. Think of the Houska Castle.
Yeah.
Castle. I've had way too much wine. Just saying. And I'm opening another bottle in like 10. But the Houska Castle built in the 1200s, and then some of these places were like 45. What does that even mean? Like zero? Where we started? I am so stupid when it comes to stuff like that. Did we start at 0 and go forward? I mean, what the heck? I mean, you have.
Well, I don't know because
Well, the clock goes backwards. There's a 0, and then it kind of goes into negatives.
What?
so that's why
Okay.
there's a BC and an AD.
Well, I know what that means, but what do you mean it goes negative?
Well, it's infinite one way or another. You have that 0 mark,
Yeah.
and then it's back and forward, and there's no end and no beginning.
I need way.
She needs name.
I can't. No. That's like I can't even. No, that's not. That can't be.
That's how it
You
is.
can only go from like the world was created, whether you believe in Christianity or the Big
Monkeys.
Bang theory. The Big Band? Is that what I said?
Big baby.
Glenn Miller, damn it.
Jazz guy myself.
He's the end all beat all. Just saying. I listen to him all the time. But the Big Bang theory, boy, that's hard to say when you've had wine. So, how can it go backwards? You can't go backwards. You either are created and you go forward.
That's like it's like dating rocks. I don't know. There.
I have dated a few in my life. I'm just saying. But they're not negative.
It's all a construct, man.
Man, I can't deal with this string
Some
theory.
construct.
That's string theory, though, right? Yeah, I don't like that. I like chaos theory a lot better. That's how I live.
Get that other bottle.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for listening to Speaking of Spirits today on the gates to hell and the portals to hell and everything in between.
Maybe someday we'll do a traveling podcast right in the gate.
Okay. I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, everybody. Till next time. Woo!
You've been listening to Speaking of Spirits, powered by Pocatello Paranormal Research in Pocatello, Idaho. Thank you for joining us today. We're glad you could be here. If you're enjoying the podcast, please do us a favor and go to whatever platform you are listening to the podcast on and give us a review. We prefer the 5-star reviews. This helps us know how we're doing, and it helps others to find the podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you on our next podcast.
Ha 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 ha!